let's wait for them to lose a game before you throw the baby out.
Hey, man, they almost lost the game if they didn't
almost
that straight jacket.
They almost.
John, I want to talk about this Patullo question. All right. We established on this show today, it's been a very offensive-minded show today, which is good. We needed it. I think this offense, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of talk about the offense, and I think we hit on a lot of good things today. When it comes to Kevin Patullo and the conservative approach that we have talked about, we both think they're a little bit too conservative. Doesn't, that's maybe not changes what they're going to do, but they are a little too conservative in both of our minds. Is that Kevin Patullo? Is that Nick Sirianni? Is that the organization? Is it the analytics department? And what I'm saying basically is we say Jalen Hurts is in a straitjacket. I'm starting to wonder, is Kevin Patullo also in a straitjacket where he's not quite allowed to be as aggressive maybe as he wants to be as an offensive coordinator? What do you think of that?
Well, everything is Nick first. Especially offensively. I mean, defensively, you can argue it's big first, but everything is offensively since the day he got here, is Nick first. The game plan is built with his instructions. He doesn't want to be bogged down with play calling, but it's not like he doesn't like. That's another thing I think is misunderstood. Like, you're not drawing up stuff in the dirt at halftime. The game, everything on that play sheet you call is what you worked on during the week. Far more important than play calling is game planning, because all you do during the week in the game plan, and this is where play callers different. And I would argue in this era of football, Shane was the best because there is a feel to it. And especially with the callback, I like to call it callbacks. Shane was very good setting up something and then coming back to it and doing something differently that I think the other guys, including Kellen Moore, aren't as good at. So there is sort of that difference, but everything's on that play sheet. There's not one time where you're saying, hey, dump this, and we're just going to run something like, again, in backyard football, just draw it in the dirt. There's off schedule stuff where you do that, and there's a feel between Jalen Hurts and AJ or Devontae, and that is sort of like sandlot football, if you want to call it from that perspective. But from a play calling perspective, everything is on that play sheet. So, and everything's broken into situations: 3rd and medium, 3rd and long, 3rd and short, 4th and short, which is basically tush push. Everything is on there. So all you're doing is scanning down that list and picking what you think will work at that particular time based on, as again, Tom Brady explained this better than anyone, as he usually does. Basically, it's probabilities. That's what you're doing as a play caller. So what you do all week is you study the opponent. So this week it's Todd Bowles. This is what Todd Bowles does in 3rd and long. So you have a list of plays that you think are best suited to beat what Todd Bowles typically runs on 3rd and long defenses he runs. And that, as explained as a quarterback, as Tom explained, again, don't listen to me. Anybody can Google this. It's all over the place. Your job as a quarterback to say, all right, you want to get up to the line of scrimmage as quickly as possible, so you have some time to survey the situation. And if it's not what you expected, the defense, then you can shift to something else, whether it's killing the play, or if you have more autonomy as Tom Brady, you could do some different things. That's all it is. You're basically calling plays based on probabilities, based on what the opposing defense typically does. And if they come out and do something they don't typically do, you have to adjust. That's all it is. And, he might be the best ever doing it. Peyton might be the best ever, but those types of guys. So, I think from a complication standpoint, people complicate that way too much. but nobody's drawing up plays that isn't in the game plan. That is an absolute exercise in futility.
No,
You're
yeah,
guaranteed.
I understand. I mean, and I agree, by the way. I love that Brady clip where he does talk about the play calling and stuff. But you did say you think they're conservative by their nature, by their approach to the game right now, because they believe it's the best way to win, and the stats would dictate that they're correct. Where does that come from? Is it Nick or is it higher? I think it's higher.
No.
I have no evidence to prove that.
It's Nick.
It's Nick. You don't think it's like analytics department? You don't think it's any
no?
Okay,
no.
I'm just asking. I think it's fair to ask because it is an analytical approach of, hey, dumb down the turnovers to 0.
Yeah, I get a lot. You know, the funniest thing about, I wouldn't say I'm close, but I talked to Alec Halaby a number of times over the past few years, and I think it's funny how narratives take hold. Like, Alex, the assistant GM, for people that don't know now, and he came here as sort of an analytics guy. That's how he was portrayed. And you'll still see that portrayal as, he's Lori's kid's best friend, and that's why he's here. And he's pushing all these analytics on people. And so he barely does analytics anymore, the data stuff, because his job is now much bigger. He's on all aspects of the team, from strategy to roster building to scouting. Awesome breaking down film, by the way, Alec Halaby, awesome. And people think of him as the Ivy League guy who numbers cruncher, because that was the narrative and people hold on to it. No, what if anything, if you're talking about, like, Jeffrey Lurie believes and had believed before this run of Eagles success, which again is unprecedented. He believed that having high octane passing offense was the easiest way to have sustained success in the NFL. So if Jeffrey were putting his foot down, that's what you'd see. He is not putting his foot down because he thinks he hired the right coach. He thinks the coach is doing a great job, and he leaves it up to the coach. A lot of people don't even know, like, again, because of narratives, a lot of people don't even know that Nick Sirianni doesn't report to Howie Roseman. He reports directly to Jeffrey Lurie.
Right. They both are. It's like both two prongs to go to Lurie. Right.
So there's all these false narratives out there. But no, this football team is wholly Nick Sirianni's, and everything strategy related comes from Nick Sirianni, especially offensively. Now, a little bit defensively, it's big. I mean, but offensively, everything, whether it was Shane or Brian or Kellen or now Kevin Patullo, everything comes from Nick Sirianni.
So, I hear you. I don't know if I can. I don't know, man. It feels different to me than to me. Like, it feels. And again, I'm not even saying it as a negative, but it does feel like this organization has taken on core philosophies that, regardless of who the head coach is, will be will remain in the building. That's kind of why I felt like they fired.
Not from a playing standpoint, because if Nick ever does leave, and I mean, he's a very young man. He's not getting fired. So, but if he ever does leave and they hire him, you'll see different changes. What you won't see is what you're talking about is the roster building, and that's Howie's job. And yeah, there's core philosophies there.
So there's no big analytical philosophy you're telling me that they have, because I always under the impression they've taken pride in their analytics.
No, they do take pride in their analytics, but they're not driving the train.
So you're telling me Nick can take the analytic and use them however he feels works best for the team, and has no.
Yeah, there's no. It's 4th and 4. You have to go here. No, I mean, he's very aggressive by nature. But
And is he also very conservative by nature right now? As you know, it's his decision to be conservative on offense.
Oh God, yeah, God, yeah. When it comes to fourth
I don't know
downs,
if that's better or worse.
he's very aggressive by nature on fourth
Yeah, no,
down.
he is in those situations for sure.
Probably the second most behind Dan Campbell, but
so the Julian Lurie truthers, John, there's no truth to that.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, Alec probably wishes there was more truth to it, that he would have that impact. But even if
is he the lead analytic guy, Alec Halliday?
No, he's not. That's how he's portrayed. Now he's the assistant GM. He's got a much bigger job. He's that's how he got into the organization. So people assume. But no, they're very proud of their analytics department. But it's funny because I asked Alec when he talked to us right before the season started. I said, "How much has it changed?" Because the Eagles were always ahead of the curve, but now everybody uses analytics. And by the way, I hate that term. It's evaluation of data, but the Eagles were ahead of the curve, and for the most part, like they were one of the few teams who were ahead of the curve, so they had this big advantage. Now everybody uses them. So I asked him, is it harder to get an advantage when you're just looking at the numbers? And he said, yeah, that's fair, but you're always looking at the newest thing. So they try to stay ahead of the curve.
Which is a good thing, by the way. You don't want
to. Oh, it's very good.
Yeah, you don't want.
They're very good. But the idea that Nick Sirianni, I don't know if that was your question, but the idea that Nick Sirianni is getting told what to do on game day.
No, yeah, all right. So you don't think it's that. My question was more about Patullo. So Nick is the one setting, though, the conservative approach for Kevin to be the play caller within what he wants the team to be on a given Sunday.
This offense it's the Eagles offense. That's what they call it. But it's really the Nick Sirianni offense and what he wants it to look like. Now he trusts Kevin probably more than he trusts anybody since
Shane.
So he trusts him implicitly to implement what he wants. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Kevin Patullo's not going rogue. If you like last year, I thought it was. I predicted it. I thought it was so comical because I said, look, when the Eagles offense looks good, it's going to be, Kellen's taking over. And when it looks bad, people are going to blame Sirianni. Oh, he's taking it back from Kellen. Again, not Nostradamus. That's
so Nick. It is Nick, though. That's the distributor of the straitjacket.
Yes, it's all Nick.
What the fuck, Nick? Why is he talking? He loves praising Jalen Hurts.
The distributor, he would not call it that.
Well, Jalen Hurts called it that, so he can have that conversation with his quarterback.
Well, that's part of it. That's part of being a head coach. By the way,
I get it. I'm just saying, you got a fucking great player. Let him play. Come on, John. I'm getting fired up at this thing. Man.
He's freaking in charge. I mean, you don't want the head coach not to be in charge.
I agree.
He's in charge.
I want the head coach to also let the players play. You can clearly see that Jalen, AJ, they want to play, man. Let us lose. Let the killers kill.
They like the Lombardi trophy in the lobby too.
Well, they do, but they can't just take that's what won us it in 24. That's going to work every single year.
Again, let's wait for him to lose a game before you throw the baby out.
Hey, man, they almost lost the game if they didn't take off that straitjacket.
They almost.
They had to take off the straitjacket to win.
So let's pretend they take off the straitjacket and they lose in Tampa Bay and there's 3 turnovers. What are we talking about on Monday?
Well, I think there's this. I also, John, I think there's like this philosophy, and I'm not blaming you for it. I think there's like this thought process of when I say take off the straitjacket, I don't mean like turn him into Joe Burrow. I know he's not that. Like, I don't want to be this crazy passing team, but 94 yards. Come on, man.
Well, I feel like
You have to create your own opportunities. Like if the defense doesn't have to worry about that, they're going to be able to
I believe I'm the one who said pretty consistently last year these numbers are not acceptable. But again, it's a give and take. You don't get the 40-9 by just being what they were against Green Bay and Brazil. To use that as an example. It was pretty cool if you think about that game. A lot of offense, a lot of big plays, but a lot of negative plays as well. So I mean, it is a tightrope, and I think they're too far in the conservative category. I agree with that, but it's hard to argue with the success.
Yeah.
So I do give them the benefit of the doubt more than most because
I do think they've earned that. To be perfectly fair, they have.
I joke they may never lose again because they win every way under the sun. I don't think they played well, though, in the first 3 weeks of the season. I don't think they played well for more than the first quarter in Dallas and then the second half against the Rams. So 3 quarters, you can argue they played good football. And I think if you take out the circumstance, you could say 1 quarter just unabated good football over the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, I wear it because I think this comment is right from Curtis. And I know we're over time here. We got to get out of here. But Curtis says, Zander, he's been the coach for years now. And 24 was the only super unbalanced year. And it was because we could run at will. This year we can't. I agree. I don't think Sirianni in his nature wants to be this conservative.
No, he doesn't.
Last year.
He doesn't.
So he's stuck on it. But I don't think we should be so stuck on it to the point of, don't let it catch up to you. You understand that you're going to have to evolve. 22, we also, I hate this approach that we have to win by being conservative. We did come within a fucking play of winning a Super Bowl, not being conservative at all. So I think there's more ways to do it. And I do agree with Curtis. We're going to have to evolve a little bit this year. That's my perspective on it.
Well, you don't have to worry about that with Nick Sirianni but we're up to Nick Sirianni. And he wasn't taught the way he was taught as a coach. He'd be running 11 personnel all day, and he'd look more, like people wanted to look. But he learned, and I'll end it with what I said before, and it's his words, not mine. Players, plays, formations, talent, play calling, scheme, talent. He said it last week. Always, he said it 5 times. Always players first. You build around your players. They built around Saquon Barkley correctly last year. In hindsight, it's not working this year, but it's a very small sample size.
And you still have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. They're not a bad duo to build around either, Nick. Come on now. Let's not get too stuck in our own ways here, all right?
Players.
And also, John, the other factor here, too, is it's not like their setup last year was common in the modern game. They also defied everything about modern football.
Because remember, people also forget they were one of the 2 or 3 best running teams.
Yeah, I think that's Curtis's point. Well,
and DeAndre Swift. But there's a big difference between Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift and Saquon Barkley. Yeah. So in a lot of ways, if you want to play like they did in 2022, do you really want not Saquon Barkley to be out there? Because they go back to how they played in 2022. If they didn't have Saquon.
In 22, though, Miles had how many yards that year?
So imagine what Saquon
would have in that same offense with just a better player. I don't know. I'm not saying go back.
Doesn't work like that. I'm just saying. If you got a 2,500 yard rusher, you use the 2,500 yard rusher. If you got Miles Sanders,
50 yards a game right now, and it's a new season.
Well, It's a small sample size. Isn't it?
I know. I'm just saying, you know.
If he breaks out for 200, you're going to be, oh, Saquon.
Well,
Saquon's still Saquon.
I don't think Saquon is off. I'm just saying right now it's not working like it did last year. Johnny Mac, we're overtime, brother. Great show today. Real quick, agenda today. I think they're off today, right? So nothing today.
Coordinator day. Got to get
coordinator
down,
day Tuesday. Damn, I don't know why I'm messed up. I'm still in like off-season mode here in terms of the schedule. Coordinator day today, so we'll hear from them. And then is Keely Ringo gonna take the field on Sunday, John? We got to look out for that. I don't know how I'm feeling about that early in the
hey, look at the bright side. It can't be much worse. So
all right, Johnny Mac, your final thought. Good stuff, brother. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Players, plays, formations, and got to go talk to Vic. Vic's always good time. So I got to go.
Later, dude.
Yeah.